Hi, this is recorded on April 12th, 2020. Basically, just a quick thing of telling why I started the site. Uh, by the way, I realize you see the funky, it's not funky. The All you got for an visual is you got the tracked app with the video goes around. I tape it. I record it onto my iPhone on memos on the memo section, and I find that works the best for me. I just like it the best. So the quickest way I could figure out to get it transferred, I couldn't figure out how to transfer it directly to YouTube, so I transferred it via track, which is designed for music. But what the heck? I wasn't gonna, I don't know how to change it, how to put something else up instead. I don't really care. I'm just trying to say things. I'm not really trying to show anything. That may change if I want to show a chart or something. But I suppose if I want to show a chart, I'll just leave a link in the description, which I don't know how to do that either, but I'll figure it out. I'm sure there's a way. People are doing it. So, so the reason I really wanted to start this was because what really got me, I've been thinking about it for a while, but what really got me starting this was two things. One, I wrote a book, but I just didn't think that was getting to the people I wanted to get to, and I think that's a bit of a dinosaur medium. It's not completely, but I think it's a little bit. So I think this is a bit more cutting edge, a bit more relevant. This kind of thing, not just YouTube, but video, motion, and or Vimeo or Bevo or Twitch. Or there's a new one that people are using, but I don't know what it is. I'm a middle-aged guy, and I think that's the one I'm trying to think of. I can't remember the name. Anyway, but it's really apparently quite popular right now. But I thought this was a better medium. So anyway, I just when this I look at a site called hedge.com. I look at that sometimes, and it's kind of a hyper. Well, let me look. Well, Wikipedia describes Zero Hedge as, quote, has been described as a libertarian or right-wing financial blog. It presents both in-house analysts and analysts from investment banks, hedge funds, and other investment writers and analysts. It's pretty far right, and it's you might even say alt-right to a point. It's anti-establishment, stuff like that. Anyway, and very conspiratorial. Anyway, but so a lot of their stuff is kind of, to me, is kind of just overhyped. It's just conspiracy theories. But they did, once in a while, they get it. I mean, I'd say once every 5 to 10 articles they have are interesting and quite relevant. And this one, early in January, I think it was, they were right on the COVID-19 thing when it was just a little blip in China. I mean, they were right on top of it. I didn't see it in other news sources. To be fair, I don't watch major news stream media sources. I don't have cable television. I haven't for a few years. But even on their, CNN and Fox News and those other ones, I didn't notice it, or not much. And Zero Hedge was screaming about it right away because they thought it was going to blow up, and I thought they were silly, but they were right. It has blown up. Well, they still overblew it, but they were right that it has blown up, and they were 100% right about that. So anyway, just I did it again, 4 minutes. So these are going to be longer than 8 minutes, obviously. Crap. I want them to be shorter than that. Anyway. So I'm going to have to learn to be briefer. I didn't like the way things were. This is blown out of proportion. It's crazy. Here's a link. Well, I'll put a link in the description, but here's an article from Bloomberg. It was in an 18th of March, and it says 99% of those who died from virus talking about COVID-19, had other illness, Italy says. And I'd read that before. And apparently more than 99%, 99.2% of Italy's coronavirus, I'm quoting them now, more than 99% of Italy's coronavirus fatalities were people who suffered from previous medical conditions, according to a study by the country's National Health Authority. Um, and this is like, I don't speak Spanish, so I can't read the one from the National Health Authority, but the link is there. And and I saw another link in uh, on worldometers.info/coronavirus. I'll post a link on that too. And if you go to age, there's several subcategories underneath near the top, and the fifth one over is age. And if you go down to that, well, actually, that doesn't mention it, but it mentions the probability, the death rate, and the death rate, and the bottom line is this. And there was also a doctor on YouTube that was describing from New York City that was describing the percentage of deaths. I'll put a link to that as well in the description. And it's so weird to say that now instead of just hearing it from people. I've heard that so many times, and I get to do it. Nobody may ever see it, but at least except me. But at least I get to do it. Anyway, so they and he was pointing out that I think it was about a week ago that of the 1,600 deaths in New York City, that basically 95% of them are. It's at the one. Well, I'll describe it in the link in the description, but in the description, but 95+% of them had previous serious physical health things like cancer, COPD, serious health issues, and many of them were not expected to live through the year anyway. They were terminal. So what's obvious from these things is that the vast majority of people that are dying of this already have serious health issues. I mean, vast as in like 90+% of people are dying of this thing have serious health issues already. So, these were already weakened individuals. The odds of somebody dying, under 40, the odds of somebody dying of this, or under 50 even, the odds of somebody dying of this, even if they got it, are like between 250 and 500 to 1. And that doesn't, and another thing is that probably most people that get this thing don't have any symptoms. And I'll put a link up in the description about that too, which was from the CDC, which showed Center for Disease Control, that showed the statistics for the Diamond Princess cruise ship. All the death ship or whatever that showed that. Because that was a ship that had it, and they were quarantined for a while near the beginning of the whole thing in Japan, I think it was. And they had, before they let everybody go, they tested everyone on the ship. And of everyone that was tested positive, 46.5% were asymptomatic, which means they had no symptoms whatsoever. And that's, so, and obviously a cruise ship is probably going to have a higher percentage of older people, seniors, and seniors tend to have, be much more seriously affected by this than non-seniors. So they're probably going to show more symptoms. So the fact that 46.5% of a ship, of a group of people, thousands of people, whom were probably mostly seniors, I don't know the age group, I'm just assuming, didn't have symptoms. Of course, probably the crew are probably young. But to me, strongly suggests that at least half of the people that get this thing have no symptoms whatsoever. And so if they have no symptoms, they're not going to get checked because they don't even know they got the thing. And there's probably lots of other people who have minor symptoms, just go, well, it's nothing, it's a cold or something, so whatever, and they don't even bother reporting either. So I think it's fairly logical to deduce that most people that have this thing don't even know they have it. And so the death rate, what that means is the death rate. Obviously right now, people, limited amount of testing, they're clearly generally testing people that have symptoms because they don't have enough testing to do otherwise, especially in North America and maybe parts of Europe. And so they're not going to test people. They're mostly going to test people that have the symptoms and thusly have the disease, the illness, the virus. So that's going to raise the death rate. Death rate is officially, oh Christ, this is going to be way longer than 10. I'm sorry, this is going to be longer than what I hoped. But the death rate is the confirmed number of deaths from an ailment divided into the confirmed number of people who had it. And so if you have a confirmed number of people that have it, but most of them aren't even getting tested because they don't even know they have it, then obviously that's going to make the death rate much lower than it seems. Because, in other words, if you have 100 people who have it and 10 people get tested, die of it, then the death rate is 10%, because 10% of the people that were confirmed to have it died of it. But considering probably 200 people have it because 100 other people didn't even know they have it, so they never were tested. So the actual number, I hope this is making sense, so the actual number is 200 people that, in this case, would be 200 people total that have it, 100 that know it and got tested, and then 100 that didn't know it. So that would be, of course, you'd have to test them to have it and officially confirm that they had the virus. But anyway, say eventually they got tested. So you would have 200 people in total that had the virus, and then 10 people died of it. Well, that 10% death rate just went down to 5% because you had twice as many people who were confirmed to have it. And I'm positive that's what the case, I'm quite sure that's what the case with this is, that whatever the death rate is, it's going to be in the end, it's going to be much, much lower, because if they test enough people, because they're going to see, because at least half the people that have the disease, the virus, don't even know they have it. So they're not going to bother to get tested. So, and also too, by the way, it's been falsely shown that, what was that guy's name? Fauci, that doctor in the States, that guy in the States who's running around telling everybody that we're all going to die and don't shake hands ever and stuff like that. Fauci, his name is. He said something that was flat out wrong. He said that the death rate for, I'm not quoting him here, but basically the death rate for coronavirus COVID-19 is going to be about 10 times what it is for the flu. That's not true. Officially, that's not true. Surely he knows that's not true. And I can prove it because I'll put links in the description. There's the CDC shows that the actual, they do the flu numbers, and the flu numbers, I'll just a sec. Okay, yeah, this is the flu numbers from the CDC. I'll put a link to it. It's called their Weekly U.S. Influenza Surveillance Report. And they list the number of people that were tested for the flu and have the flu. This is for this year, and they give an estimate of who died. They don't know exactly. So the number of specimens, this is 10, I don't know when it was done, but it's as of today, so I don't know when the last time they updated. Oh, here, what? Okay, no. By the way, the data is cumulative since December 29th last year. That's from that point on. I guess that's what they call the beginning of the flu season. So it's week 40. Anyway, so there have been over 1.3 million specimens tested, and 19% of them came out positive. So there's been 247,785 positive tests in the United States as of now for the flu. And they believe as of now there have been 24,000 deaths from the flu. So you take 24, I'm just doing it on this the on-screen calculator, 24,000 divided by the number of positive cases. That's 247,785, and you get 9.6%. Now that's the death rate. That is the official death rate for the flu. Now obviously it's lower than that because there's going to be people that get the flu that don't bother going to the doctor, or they don't bother and they definitely don't get tested. So it's going to be lower than that. But the official death rate for the flu in the United States, the official death rate is 9.6%. Well, no matter what and I'll go by I'll take that worldmeters.info site, which has a running total every day of it's pretty good for numbers. And they say right now there's 110,000 deaths. 110005. That's 110,005 deaths divided by 1795. 1,795,693 people. And that's a death rate of 6.12. This is going to come way down when all the numbers in. But that's the official death rate, world official death rate according to worldometers.info/coronavirus. And so that's 6.12. Well, that's nowhere near, that's not as high as the official flu death rate. So both of these numbers are going to be lower, but I mean, much lower. But the point is, he was wrong. And he's supposed to be an expert. He should have known that. He was comparing apples and oranges. What he was doing was he was taking the numbers. He took the CDC estimates for the people that have the flu, which is 39 million people they're estimating. And he used that number and then used the deaths for that. That's apples and oranges. If one is using the exact number and one is using the assumed number. So I hope that makes sense. So he used the two comparisons. The 0.1% death rate for flu is assumed illnesses with actual deaths, whereas the death rate that he was quoting for the coronavirus, for COVID-19, was confirmed cases, confirmed deaths into confirmed cases. One is assumed, one is confirmed. It's apples and oranges. He must have known this. He did it anyway. I mean, it seems pretty obvious he's trying to panic people. He's trying to get people to take it seriously. I don't know if he's panicking, but he's trying to get them really scared so they'll do what he tells them to do. Maybe he's just a media whore. I don't know. But I mean, the point is that he knew that was wrong and he said it anyway. He must have known it was wrong. Otherwise, he's incredibly incompetent. So the fact that, what should have been done is obvious to me. What should have been done is, since this is only the odds of you dying of this, if you're under 50 and just reasonably healthy, is much larger, and the chance of you dying of a car crash is much greater. Something like, I saw on a site, like 300 to 330 to 1 is the odds of dying in a car crash. The odds of dying of this, if you're over 50, if you're over 40, when you take into account the fact that most cases don't even know they have it, that the death rate's too high, it's going to be, even the actual death rate now, which is not right, it's still something like 500 to 1 against if you're under 40, and it's 250 to 1 against if you're under 50. So, the odds are really freaking high. You're not going to die. And if you add into account all of the people who have the disease who don't even know they have it because they have no symptoms or hardly any symptoms, that's going to bring that death rate down way lower. So you're probably going to, either way, you're under 50, you're reasonably healthy, the odds of you dying of this thing, if you get it, are way better or way worse. The odds of you dying in a car crash are far, far higher. And I don't see them shutting down cars everywhere. So, this is crazy. So what should have clearly been done is the government should have warned people not to warn people that were in the danger zone, warned people that have very weakened immune systems and or have serious health issues to self-quarantine themselves, to go into quarantine. And then the government would say something like, well, if you have trouble with that, if you're having a financial problem with that, just give us a call and, we'll help you out. And then everyone else just go about your normal routine. Because if you get it, the odds of you dying of this thing are astronomical. So don't worry about it. Just go about your normal routine. It's just the people that have serious health issues. And test after, and statistic after statistic. And then Italy statistics, China statistics, which I know we don't know how much we can count on those. America statistics, New York City statistics are proving this. That it's almost exclusively people that die, that have serious health issues, that are dying of this. Plus, they are also, we know for a fact that they are, in many locations, they are calling people who died of this thing. That's why if you look at the different, if you look at the site I mentioned, the worldometers, I don't know how you pronounce it, .info site /coronavirus, you'll see different line. You'll see the stats. You go down a little bit on the page. You'll see all these stats for different countries. And if you figure it out quickly, you'll see that the death rate, let's say in Italy, is miles higher than the death rate in Germany. Well, it's the exact same illness, so how could that be? Obviously, Italy is judging them different. Some countries are saying, well, if you died of the coronavirus, if you died of COVID-19, if you died and you had COVID-19, well, then it's a COVID-19 death. Doesn't matter if you died of a stroke. If you had COVID-19, it's an official COVID-19 death. Or that's a secondary cause. Say the primary one was that, but the world registers it as, oh, that's a COVID-19 death. Even if you died of a stroke or heart attack, but you happen to test for it, that's a positive for COVID-19. Whereas I'm assuming Germany does it a lot more logically, and they decide, well, did he die of COVID-19 or did he die of the stroke? Well, he died of the stroke, so we're not going to put it down as COVID-19. So and we know that's going on. It's going on in the States. They're calling people that died in a car accident if they have a COVID-19, calling it COVID-19 death. I read that. I don't know if it's true, but I read that. I don't have the link for it, so I don't remember where I read it. But the point is that this is getting blown out of proportion like crazy. So anyway, as I said, what they should have done is just shut it down. Just told people that were vulnerable to this to self-isolate themselves, and that the government would help them out with that. And then let everybody else go about their business. Instead, they shut down the whole freaking economy, cause what's probably going to cause, according to the Federal Reserve, is going to cause a depression, 32% unemployment rate, the Fed is predicting, a depression, an economic depression. There's already giant $1 trillion of stimuli that, it's going to just be added to the national debt. It's going to have to be paid back one day. I mean, this is a nightmare. This is an absolute lunatic nightmare nonsense. Okay, I'm going to stop now. Sorry, I went way too long. My next video is going to be why I think they're doing it this way. Okay, again, I wish I hadn't gone on so long, but I couldn't help myself. Okay, and then on to the next one. Bye.